Morning. Honored guests, graduates, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 7th undergraduate commencement ceremony of the American University of Armenia. This is a special day of celebration for faculty, students, parents, and all the organizations and individuals that have worked toward establishment and growth of this institution. The American University of Armenia was founded in 1991 against all odds. Armenia had recently suffered a destructive earthquake. It was at war and the country was blockaded. Nevertheless, due to the vision, hard work, and sacrifice of several individuals, these difficulties were overcome and the university was founded on September 21, 1991, on the same day that Armenia declared its independence. These individuals are recognized on the Founders Wall next to Akian Gallery in our Paramas Avetisian building. We are fortunate to have several members of our Board of Trustees with us today. May I ask the trustees to please stand up as I read their names. Dr. Lawrence Pitts, the Chair of the Board of Trustees. Dr. Anne Karagosian. Mr. Basken Yagubian. Dr. Barbara Sori. Mr. Paul Agbabian. Ms. Suzy Antunian. Ms. Carol Aslanian. Mr. Craig Avetisian. Dr. George Blumenthal. Dr. Paul Bogosian. And Dr. Yuri Sarkisian, who is a member of the Board of Directors of the American University of Armenia Fund. It is a special privilege and honor for me to once again serve as the president of this university, this time on an interim basis while the board is searching for a new president. I would like to acknowledge the great dedication and achievements of my predecessors. Founding President, late Dr. Miran Agbabian, the second president, Dr. Haratun Armenian, growth and advancement have been the brightest moments of my service to the AUA. This year marks the very first graduation from our Master of Art Master of Art in Human Rights and Social Justice program. Furthermore, this coming fall, we are starting 3 new degree programs: Master of Arts in International Relations and Diplomacy, Master of Public Affairs, and Bachelor of Science in Environmental and Sustainability Science. With all these additions, starting next fall, the university will offer 8 undergraduate and 11 graduate degree programs, as well as several certificate programs. We have increased the number of our incoming students by 15%, and we have plans for growing our physical facilities. In 2021, we opened our first residence hall, which is now fully occupied. Yesterday, we celebrated the opening of the Nigerian Center for Social Entrepreneurship. We also have plans for new buildings on the north side of our campus and for renovating the Triangle Park as a living, smart laboratory for the enjoyment of our neighboring community. With these, there will also be growth in our programs, both in the undergraduate and graduate level. I would like to take a few minutes to express our gratitude to other individuals and organizations that have made the dream of AUA a reality and have played significant roles in its advancement. The American University of Armenia is the product of a partnership between the Armenian government, the Armenian General Benevolent Union, and the University of California. Despite the significant political and economic changes occurring in Armenia during the period 1989 to 1991, the Ministry of Education and Science delivered its unwavering assistance, facilitating steps and removing hurdles in founding the university. This support continues today. As in previous years, this year too, our students have benefited from the programs offered by the Ministry of Education, Science, Culture, and Sport for the socially vulnerable students, disabled students, students from borderline villages, as well as children of deceased services. On behalf of the university, I would like to express deep gratitude to the Ministry of Education, Science, Culture, and Sport, and to the government of Armenia for the unwavering support they have offered. AUA students, alumni, faculty, and staff owe a great deal to the generous support of the Armenian General Benevolent Union. The president of AGBU in 1991, late Mrs. Louise Manoukian Simon, was instrumental in the founding of the university, and she served a vital role as a member of the Board of Trustees of AUA for many years, as has done her successor, AGBU's current president, Mr. Berch Setrakian. I'm pleased to say that Miss Christine Simon, Louise Simon's daughter, is now a member of our Board of Trustees and continues the Manoukian legacy. The University of California has supported AUA from the very beginning by providing academic and administrative guidance. AUA and University of California are joined by an affiliation agreement that has brought the active participation of University of California officials in service to AUA, including the chair of our Board of Trustees, Dr. Lawrence Heath, who is the former provost and executive vice president for academic affairs of the University of California. I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Pitts to read a greeting from the president of the University of California.
The Regent officers and faculties of the University of California send cordial greetings to the American University of Armenia on the occasion of its 7th undergraduate commencement ceremony and its 31st graduate commencement ceremony. The University of California community of learning extends warmest congratulations to the graduates and their families on this joyous occasion and all good wishes for success in the years ahead, given this 10th day of June 2023.
Thank you, Dr. Pitts. AUA has also received significant assistance from the government of the United States. This assistance has been provided to us through our partners in development, the U.S. Agency for International Development. Thanks to this support, we've been able to grow and enhance our facilities with modern classrooms, auditoria, offices, the library, and other spaces to better serve our growing student population. Last year, we opened our residence hall, which is now fully occupied. And just yesterday, we opened the Najarian Center for Social Entrepreneurship. Generously donated by Mr. and Mrs. George and Carolyn Najarian as partially completed buildings. Both buildings were renovated and completed with substantial support from the American Schools and Hospitals broad program of USAID. Thanks to a more recent grant from this program, we're currently developing a comprehensive media laboratory. We remain deeply grateful for this vital support from the U.S. government. The USAID Armenia is represented here today by the mission director, Mr. John Alelo. May I ask? Next, I would like to pay a special tribute to the exceptional dedication and commitment of AUA faculty during the past year. They're always there to support, advise, and mentor our students, and they serve the university, the public, and their profession in many different and significant ways. Would the faculty please stand up and be recognized? I would like to recognize my colleagues on the executive team, including Vice President Ashok Bagarian, Ebor Goyunian, and Gaine Khachaturian. I also thank Professors Pinar Khachaturian and Bahram Matevosyan for assisting me on all academic matters in the absence of a provost. My special thanks go to Gaine Tevosyan, who as the executive manager of the Office of the President has been of tremendous help. It has been a pleasure and privilege to closely work with all of them. I would also like to acknowledge the important role of our staff, from those who keep our facilities clean and well maintained, to those who provide support services to our students, such as admissions, registration, library, academic support, and co-curricular programming, counseling services, career development, accounting, and IT and communication services, and those who plan events such as this commencement ceremony. Their hard work provides a nurturing environment for study and scholarship. Thank you, all of them. I want to take a special note of one staff member. After almost 30 years of service, the director of AGPU Library, Mrs. Satani Kavakian, is retiring this year. I want to recognize her years of dedicated service to leading our library team. Unfortunately, because of a family issue, Satani cannot be here today. Graduates, it is safe to say that not one of you would be here today were it not for the hard work and sacrifice of the people sitting in the back of this auditorium and in the balcony. Your families, your parents, and your spouses. The success of your education efforts has depended on their continued sacrifice. Unfortunately, the parents of some of our graduating students from Artsakh have not been able to join us because of the illegal blockade of the Lachin corridor. However, we have made arrangements for them to watch these ceremonies through live streaming. I'm now going to ask all the families to stand up, please. Խնդրում եմ մեր շրջանավարտների ծնողներին, ամուսիններին եւ կանանց ոտքի կանգնեն։ Սիրելիներ, շատ շնորհակալ ենք այս 4 տարիների ընթացքում մեր ուսանողներին ձեր հոգատար աջակցության համար։ Վստահ ենք, որ առանց ձեր մշտական օգնության եւ զորությունների նրանք չէին կարողանա հաղթահարել Հայաստանի ամերիկյան համալսարանի ուսուցման դժվարին ծրագիրը։ Իսկ մեր աղցակցի ուսանողների ծնողներին, որոնք այսօր չկարողացան անձամբ ներկա լինել եւ տեսակապով են տեսնում իրեն զավակների շրջանավար դառնալը, ուզում ենք ասել եւս մեկ անգամ, որ մենք բոլորս մեր Արցախի կողքին կանգնած ենք եւ իրեն զավակները հարազատ ծնողների փոխարեն այսօր շշապատված են իրենց մյուս ընտանիքի Հայաստանի ամերիկյան համալսարանի հարազատ։
Dear parents and relatives, my deepest gratitude to you for participating in our ceremony today. Please accept our warm congratulations. Dear սիրելի ուսանողներ, խնդրում եմ ոտքի կանգնեք, միացեք մեզ մեր երախտիկը հայտնելու ձեր ընտանիքների զոհաբերությունների համար։ Նախորդ ակադեմիական տարվա ընթացքում համալսարանը շարունակել է ստանալ առատաձեռն աջակցություն շատ անհատական։
Among them, I would like to mention just a few. In particular, Mr. and Mrs. Jerry and Pat Turpanjian, Mr. and Mrs. Zavan and Sonia Akian, Dr. and Mrs. Nubar and Anna Afeyan, Mr. and Mrs. Paul and Kate Agbabian, Mr. and Mrs. Sarkis and Ruth Bedevian, Mr. and Mrs. Albert and Terry Bestian, Mr. and Mrs. Ken and Irene Kakosian, the Jack Munitions Estate, Dr. Lawrence Peets, the SGS Charitable Trust, and Kashian Family Foundation. There are many others, but I cannot go on reading their names. Their contributions and those of numerous other donors have made it possible to launch important education initiatives that otherwise would not have been possible. Thank you. During their studies, this graduating class scored a number of important achievements. Your commencement program provides a summary. I would like to highlight just a couple. Anna Andreasian, BA in English and Communications, received third place in 2022 Best Student Award in the field of Humanities from the Minister of Education, Science, Culture, and Sport of the Republic of Armenia. The aim of the award is to recognize and encourage university students with high performance and societal involvement within their field of study. This award is an apt recognition of Anna's excellence in her academic and extracurricular activities. Second example, Yerban Tatevosyan and Rafi Rafaelian traveled to the University of Florida to compete in the Ivner International ACE competition, an international competition that offers a week of real-world experience in the business world. Together with the two other team members, they qualified as Case Key Business Case Competition finalists. This competition is a world-class competition that exposes students to the strategic challenges and decisions encountered by global business leaders. I would like to ask these three students to stand up and be recognized. Are they here? Class of 2023, you are to be congratulated for your achievements in earning bachelor's degrees. You have worked hard, acquired knowledge and skills, and most importantly, have opened your minds for critical thinking and lifelong learning. This is your day, and we want you to enjoy it and be proud of your accomplishment. But also remember the path that allowed you to be in this privileged position here today. As you go forward with your future plans, think of ways to give back to your families, communities, your country, and your nation. Continue to be involved in civic activities, volunteer your services, take leadership positions to bring positive change, and contribute your time and money to good causes. As for your university, we hope you will become an active member of the AUA alumni. I note that as fellow AUA alumni, we have the Minister of Health, Anahit Avanesian, the Minister of Labor and Social Affairs, Narek Mukherjee, the First Deputy Minister of Health, Lena Nanushian, the Secretary of National Security Council, Armen Grigoryan, and the Human Rights Defender of Artsakh, Keram Stepanyan, among many other high-ranking government officials among our alumni. Keep in touch with your fellow alumni, come back and attend seminars and lectures, mentor the new generation of students, and participate in the university events and programs. 10 years ago, something really important happened. Upon the occasion of the 20th anniversary of the first class of 1993, an alumni scholarship fund was established. Subsequent classes of alumni added to this endowment. Today, the endowment stands at more than $225,000. So far, 17 students have received the alumni scholarship. This is a beautiful concept. Students graduate, go on to become successful in their careers, and then they help other students with the cost of their education. This cycle goes on and on, helping the education of generation after generation of young people. Class of 2023, I hope you will be highly successful in your careers and will come back to support the education of future students in this university. Our commencement address today will be delivered by Ms. Lara Setrakian, an international journalist and president of the Applied Policy Research Institute of Armenia, known as APRI, Armenia, an independent, non-partisan think tank based in Yerevan. Her work focuses on advancing regional stability, sustainable prosperity, and civic engagement in Armenia and the South Caucasus. She's also the co-founder of News Deeply, an innovative digital media company focused on critical global issues, not published in collaboration with the New Humanitarian. A longtime supporter of social entrepreneur, Lara also serves as an impact partner with Fresco Capital, a global venture capital fund based in Singapore. Previously, Lara was based in the Middle East as a foreign correspondent for ABC News and Bloomberg Television. In this role, she covered the Arab Spring, the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and other major political and economic stories in the region. She later focused on the fusion of news, information, and technology, building in-depth content hubs on the world's most important issues. Her first platform, Syria Deeply, produced groundbreaking coverage of the Syrian civil war. Ebola Deeply launched soon after, followed by Water Deeply, Refugees Deeply, Oceans Deeply, Malnutrition Deeply, Women's Advancement Deeply, and other platforms. The National Press Foundation gave News Deeply the 2013 Excellence in Online Journalism Award for its work. Lara is a graduate of Harvard University and an alumni fellow of the Columbia University Graduate School of Journalism. Fast Company magazine named her one of the 100 most creative people in business, while Inc. magazine called her one of the 8 women who could own the future. Lara is a young global leader of the World Economic Forum and a life member of the Council on Foreign Relations. She also served on the Global Future Council on Media, Entertainment, and Culture. A native of New Jersey and New York City, she now resides in Yerevan with her family. It is my distinct pleasure to invite Lara to the podium to deliver her keynote.
Dear class of 2023, let's talk. There's no one like you. In every way, in your strengths, in your joys, and in the challenges you faced. You are the class that began your freshman year in the Armenia that existed before the pandemic and before the war. Then watched the war unfold, watched some of your classmates go to war and some not return. Now you graduate as this country inches its way toward peace, not yet sure of the price. In modern history, there is no college class like you. As a student, I didn't have to face the difficulties that you've faced, but I can imagine it was a painful ride. Dashed hopes and disappointments, the need to find your way through uncertainty and manage a deep sense of loss. So on this historic day of your youth, I want to say that I see you, I love you, I believe in you, and I am really sorry you had to go through it all. You found a way to triumph. And we are so proud of you for that. Now we are here to help carry you forward as you make your way into the world, as you make a better world. I know that's a big responsibility, but we're in it together, and we're going to make it right. There's a song by the South African group Ladysmith Black Mambazo that's called "Tough Times Never Last, Strong People Do." That song is about people like us. Sometimes it feels like might equals right, that the glory and the gain always go to the bigger guy. But that's not how morality works, not in the long run. Might is not always right. Only right is right. Live by what you know is right, and you will forge a path that you will never regret following. My life got much more interesting when I learned to follow what was right, when I decided to base my career path on what I knew would advance what was right. The clearest moment was in 2018. I took a short course at the Harvard Kennedy School of Government, and we each had to answer the question, if you disappeared tomorrow, what would you most regret not having done? It was very clear to me that I would most regret not having come back to the places that I'm from to share what I've learned along the way. So after a career in international journalism, I moved to Yerevan and found the work that's mine to do. I decided to help build the Applied Policy Research Institute of Armenia, or APRI Armenia. APRI Armenia is a collaborative think tank, a problem-solving engine, and a policy research center where I work with some of the most dedicated, genius people I have ever met in my life. They could be doing anything anywhere in the world, but they've decided to be here, investing themselves in key fields of development and finding creative solutions to the challenges that we all face. It's hard work, but it's joyful work, and it's deeply satisfying every day. From regional stability to climate change to foreign policy, we're building the knowledge and expertise that will bring what's right into greater reality. Our spirit of mutual support, our commitment to excellence, and our shared goal of building a better future here makes it a more powerful and more meaningful professional experience than any of us could find anywhere else. You all have the power to change the world, to bring what is right more into reality, into the present, and to shift the direction of the country that you live in today. When you collaborate with good people, with a spirit of mutual support, you can make it all happen faster, better, and with a joy that surrounds your hard work. If you decide to make progress here in Armenia, nothing can stop you. Some of the older people I speak to in this country say their greatest hope for the future is you. But I don't think that's fair to you. That's putting a lot on your shoulders. You've had to grow up in this mess, and now we're throwing it on you to fix it? That's not fair. My generation is working very, very hard so that we can make progress even when things seem hopeless. Which also proves, by the way, that things are never really hopeless. You can always find the light, find the space for improvement, the way to move things in a better direction. And so much of that is happening now. From Armenia's incredible growth in solar and renewable energy, the chance to become a serious exporter of solar electricity in our lifetimes, to the people pushing Armenia toward more sustainable agriculture, education reform, tighter pollution control, AI and high tech, and public health. Pick a field and I will show you genuinely genius people in Armenia going to work every day and making progress through their talent and determination, working to achieve those goals for the good of all of us. Do you want to join them? There are some very bright people in government, some of them AUA graduates. They're scattered throughout different ministries, transforming things from within. It's the opportunity of a lifetime to go work with them and change public policy for good, touching millions of lives. Those of us in the field working every day can see the progress, even on the most difficult days. Bit by bit, we are making breakthroughs happen. My generation is working this hard so that things will be as good as they can be by the time you are old enough to take over. This is our promise. We will play our part, and I know that you will stand up to play yours. Now, I know that some of you also need a break. That I understand. You deserve a break. Maybe you want to spend 6 months in Bali, or climb Mount Kilimanjaro, or go backpacking across India. If you want it, do it. You deserve the chance to study and grow and enjoy and explore, or just chill out in Lori or Dilijan. For the love of God, you deserve the time to rest. But once you've done that, make a choice of where you want to be and what you want to build that will help make things right in the world. Gather your talent and determination and get started. Our generation, yours and mine, are the ones who are going to make things right, especially here in Armenia. The opportunities to build the future are endless, and if your journeys take you to different shores, know that good things and good people and genius work is waiting for you here when it's time to come home. We do need you here, building your vision for the future, creating and improving on what we have today. But also, we want you to be part of the Armenian Renaissance so that you can enjoy it. It's going to be fun. To achieve excellence and to design the country you want to see, to set the standard or raise the standard to the best in the world in your own country, there is no greater satisfaction than that. In general, in my life, I've learned, don't run away from things. Run toward things. If there's something out there you want, go get it, find it, chase it, seek it. But don't run away from home. Run toward what you want next. Then bring it home and integrate it here. And if you stay here all along to build something exceptional in Armenia, even better. AUA is a special place. The culture of positivity and joy and optimism you felt was no accident and no fluke. It was carefully designed to nurture you, to educate you in the ways that are truly right, to live in the light. You can keep that feeling. It can stay with you your whole life if you make that the standard for how you treat other people and how you approach every day that you're given. AUA has taught you to work together and to trust each other. Keep building those bonds of friendship, community, mutual support. That is the stuff that great lives and great countries are made of, and great careers. Believe in yourself and believe in each other, in your collective capacity to change everything if you so choose. You can build the future you want to see for yourselves and for your children. When I came to Armenia, I suddenly felt like I'm no longer reading the history books, I'm in the history books. And together we're going to write the next chapter. I see you, I love you, and I believe in you. Congratulations, AUA class of 2023, Manak Parov.
It is my pleasure to now invite our first student speaker, Ripsime Boskanyan, candidate of Bachelor of Science in Data Science, to give her remarks in Armenian.
Parents, friends, the American University of Armenia faculty and staff, and of course, the main heroes of the day, dear graduates. Tight deadlines, students looking for a room in the library, rushing from one building to another, and of course exams, and more exams. It's nice, isn't it, to be here after all, not for taking exams. when I was thinking what I was going to talk about today, I was trying to avoid as much as possible the commonly repeated words and expressions. But however, I'll probably say one of the most commonly repeated are expressions. I also would not expect that this place would become the most interesting, difficult, colorful, sometimes not so colorful place filled with happiness and friends. None of us would expect that this place would become a place for being recognized, admitted, and a place with the most interesting people. When years ago I was thinking what to do, where to apply, and I was afraid that studying here might not work, one of the most important people in my life, my mother, simply said, do not fear, just try it. And if it doesn't work, something other good thing will happen, definitely. During these years, there have been moments when we were thinking that it would be impossible, it would not work. 30 minutes before the deadline, we were trying to do a work of several months. 10 seconds before the exam, we would try to learn 10 formulas by heart, and we would forget another 10. We would like to overcome 2,000 word assignment in an hour or sleep for 4 hours. I think the last one has been tried by all of us. I wonder if anyone has tried that. Perhaps we'll meet a lot of difficulties in our life, but let's not fear. Let's try, take a risk. And if it doesn't work, some other good thing will definitely work. As you can see, graduating the university worked.
It is my pleasure now to invite our second student speaker, Samantha Isabella Abella Adalia, candidate of Bachelor of Arts in English and Communication.
Thank you, Dr. Terhirajan. Good afternoon, esteemed faculty, distinguished guests, our donors, our family and friends here in this auditorium, and those watching online, especially those in Artsakh, and to my class of 2023. It's overwhelming to finally be here, and it's an honor to represent our graduating class. Who would have thought that a kid like me from Manila and Kathmandu would be standing here in front of you right now? When I first came to AUA, I was an outsider, but soon I became an insider. Before AUA, I was homeschooled for 14 years. I lived in the Philippines and Nepal and traveled to 37 cities in 11 countries as part of my real-world education. I settled in Armenia 6 years ago with my family, and I became an Armenian by heart, which is an important part of me being at AUA. I was the first and only Filipino undergraduate student here, and along with my peers, I soon saw the institution's commitment to serving and educating Armenians and the global community of next generation leaders. My love for Armenia also made me want to help the Armenian people, so that goal directed my experience at AUA. The skills I've gained and the support from my professors during the past 4 years have prepared me to pursue that vision. Looking back at our first year at AUA, we had to acclimatize ourselves to the AUA culture. Just like mountain climbers in my adopted home, Nepal, have to adjust to the harsh conditions of higher altitudes to reach the summit, our acclimatization was to our new learning systems and the heavy load of assignments and projects. My peers also had to juggle their jobs while studying at the same time, so sometimes it felt really hard to breathe. But I'm grateful we could find comfort among our professors, friends, and family who spurred us onward so we could climb higher up. Yet we had many setbacks along the way. In spring 2020, COVID-19 suddenly hit us. We had to spend 2 years outside the university walls and inside tiny screens. We battled with isolation and mental health challenges, our social connections going down the drain. But I thank the faculty and staff of AUA for adapting quickly and creatively to the situation and for supporting us. especially during the Karabakh War. Through their community drive, I'm grateful that AUA was a channel for my Filipino community in and outside of Armenia to send support to the soldiers on the front line. We also had to deal with the passing of 7 AUA students who fell as soldiers, including my classmate David Virapian, who was part of the class of 2023. I wish he was here with us today, and I hope his family, who's watching right now, knows that we love him and we are all proud of him. But still, despite our pain, we kept going. We understood that no COVID, no war will stop us from achieving and learning. I'm staring at the toughest young generation of students I've ever seen. To my classmates, be proud. We did it. Pat your seatmate on the shoulder. AUA trained and empowered us to become critical thinkers and persuasive communicators who effect change. I saw this especially when I was a TEDx AUA speaker and joined the Highlander student magazine team, where I served as a reporter and the comics artist. Now our team comprises people from different classes and majors. We're also grateful to our professors who've imparted their experiences to us so we can solve real-world issues and converse with people from different cultures. For example, my capstone project is a graphic novel about the challenges Armenian diasporans face when moving to Armenia. My professor's expertise on the Armenian diaspora, especially from Armenian history, cultural anthropology, and even filmmaking, greatly influenced my choice for this project. Now, to all the parents and family of our graduating class, including those who flew into Armenia to be here, I would like to thank and honor you for supporting and inspiring us. Classmates, please give your parents a hug on my behalf. I want to thank my family in particular, Dad, Mom, Abby, and Jivan. This is your success as much as it is mine. Thank you for being supportive and patient with me. I thank God for all of you. I also thank God. He is why I strive for excellence at AUA. Striving for excellence was my way of showing gratitude for His goodness and faithfulness in my life. I want to give Him glory for bringing me through the past 4 years emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. He was my comforter, my guide, my provider, my good father, and my closest friend. To all the people wondering why I'm so positive, it's because of God. The peace I have comes from Him. And I thank God that we all made it here. For some of you, maybe it took several attempts or you changed majors. So let's all cherish this moment. Take a deep breath and look behind you. See the back-breaking trail you went through. And now you've made it to the summit. Let that sink in. Come on. So life begins at our commencement ceremony, but our learning will not stop. Whether you're going for your master's, taking a gap year, or pursuing a full-time job, let's carry our AUA values of excellence, acceptance, creativity, perseverance, and leadership. Even as the corporate and academic world is changing because of the AI boom, let's leverage AI as an emerging tool in tandem with the values and skills we've gained here. And whatever else the world throws at us, I know we'll make it, especially since we've grown stronger after the past 4 years. And I pray that God will bless us all as we close our chapter at AUA and continue on new journeys. But I also pray that we serve as catalysts in this nation and the world. Let's not just leave AUA with our achievements and grades, but let's also reflect on who we've become and on the strength of character that AUA helped build in us. Because at the end of the day, our character is what will leave a lasting and positive impact on the world. And that is what we'll be remembered for. Thank you.
This year, we have one more student to make remarks. I would like to invite Armen Torosian, candidate of Bachelor of Arts in English and Communications, and the past president of the Student Council to give his remarks.
It feels as if though it was 4 blinks ago that we entered this same hall, confused and amazed by, I don't know, lights, strangers, people around us we didn't know. There were people in yellow t-shirts who were supposed to guide us. There were kids singing on the stage. A lot was happening. But on that day, to a boy from Syria, the future looked good. For once, it looked bright. And that was the very first blink. But there was a sound ringing in my head, a question constantly coming up to me that said, what am I doing here? Why am I here in the first place? And that echoed. As the second blink came in, the world was ending once every 2 weeks. In the middle of a pandemic and a war situation, I thought to myself, yes, Armen, this is the right time to take leadership roles. Perfect. I was asserting my existence through those roles and moments. And in the middle of my room, isolated from people, I felt the most surrounded by my peers, by my colleagues who kept supporting me and gave me love. So thank you guys, this one's for you. And as the third blink came in, life was a blessing. For someone who grew up in a humble family, in a city that's both small but also great and ancient called Aleppo, in a quote-unquote developing country, would be walking around in the hallways getting greeted by people he's never met or he doesn't know, and sometimes wondering if they're actually students or not. But here we are. But at times I faced doubt too. We all do. I was asking myself, how many opportunities did I miss? How many extra minutes did I not give to listen to someone speak to me? How many emails did I not reply to? How many chances did I have to tell someone I love them, but I simply couldn't in this life? How many times was I ready to risk my career for 30 minutes of extra sleep? And many more questions that I kept asking myself. When will I see my mother next? How many people do they have to keep sacrificing themselves so I could live a life and enjoy this privilege that I'm standing here today? I wish there was a manual to life sometimes, a guideline to help us go through life and figure things out. Some kind of a helping booklet or whatever to tell us what we need to do. But that doesn't exist. And that is the reason why we're here. We have to keep going. We have to not give up. This is right now the 4th blink. And it seems that every moment was bringing us to this very, very specific part of our 4 blinks journey. Time is one tricky thing, isn't it? But now I ask myself, what was the purpose of all of this? What was the meaning after all? It seems like AUA prepared us to be those future leaders, innovators, thinkers, and occasionally sleep-deprived presenters. But here we are. We're sitting next to people that were complete strangers to us once, that now have become people we thought we knew for a lifetime. Those who teach us more than any mistake would. And some people who were the mistakes. But anyways. We also need to be grateful for the people who we didn't get to meet. Our administration, who keep doing its best to bring the prestige of the university higher and higher. The giants sitting behind me over here, our great faculty, whose shoulders we stand on. All the staff that wake up every morning to come here to make sure things run as smoothly and have the patience to respond to some of our long poetic rants and complaints, especially Registrar, we're sorry. today reminds me of a quote by the late Dr. Areshan, who was the light to me during the dark times of COVID. He said, "I feel though as if I am a small pebble drifting through time and space aimlessly, yet it's full of meaning. That meaning is something we have to create through our own actions, by being present as someone taught me once, and proving that life just doesn't happen to you. You have to do it. You have to live it for life to happen." So at the end of the day, let's look at each other. We lived, we made it. A lot of people sacrificed their lives in Artsakh and in Syria, so I could be here, and you guys also could be here. A lot of people we cherish, we respect, we love. And there's a lot to be proven wrong and right in this universe, and it's our job to do. It's our generation's right to prove what is right. So let's go out there and let's make a change. Let's make it possible. I would like to thank my mother, my brother, who kept pushing me to reach for greater heights, financially helping me as well, to be here, stand here and talk to you guys. It's such an odd thing to do that at one point you're born in a very, very, very unseen society. So now I'm speaking in front of you. It's an honor. So my last thanks goes to someone who's not here today. Just wanted to tell her I love you. And from the depths, deep down in my heart, I congratulate you, class of 2023, and thank you very much. And I bid you farewell, my beloved American University of Armenia.
I would like to thank our valedictorians for their inspiring speeches and Armen Torosian for his heartwarming remarks. They're excellent models of the kind of graduates that we aspire to produce. I want to make a statement which is reflecting our financial policy. The university's financial aid program continues to expand thanks to many generous individuals and corporate donors. I would like to stress our policy that no academically qualified student who is admitted to the university will ever be denied an AUA education because of inability to pay the tuition. AUA is a full need and need-blind institution of higher learning, placing its commitment to the accessibility of education in a very small category of American institutions of higher education. I would like to thank all of our donors who provide scholarships in support of our students, and I would like you to recognize them. Each year, we award 2 Teaching Excellence Prizes and 2 Research Excellence Awards to our faculty on competitive basis. We will do this afternoon at the commencement ceremonies of our graduate students. This is the 7th year that we are presenting the AUA Presidential Commendation Award, the highest award given by this university. This award recognizes and honors an individual who has made extraordinary contributions in advancing education and scholarship with special impact on Armenia. I'm very pleased to announce that the recipient of the Presidential Commendation Award this year is Dr. Lawrence H. Pitts, the chair of the AUA Board of Trustees. Dr. Pitts has tirelessly served as the chair of AUA's Board of Trustees since 2012, assuming the role shortly after retiring from his position as Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs of the University of California. Prior to becoming UC Provost, Dr. Pitts served as a professor of neurosurgery at the University of California, San Francisco School of Medicine. Dr. Pitts has been a highly engaged chair of a board of trustees, extremely generous with his time and resources, contributing to the growth and success of the university. Since its establishment in 1991, AUA has been closely affiliated with the University of California. Under this affiliation agreement, the UC has provided academic and administrative guidance to AUA. Several members of the AUA's Board of Trustees are current or former UC administrators and academic leaders. Historically, the chair of the board has been the sitting or former provost of the University of California. Dr. Pitts has continued this tradition. Dr. Pitts was born in Atlanta, Georgia, and grew up in Louisiana. He attended the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, graduating with a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering and in industrial management. After a 2-year tour as radio officer on the USS Northampton, Dr. Pitts completed his medical studies at Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine. After an internship and residency in the Department of Neurosurgery at the University of California, San Francisco, he joined the university's faculty in 1976. In 1976, he spent 8 months at the Institute of Neurological Sciences in Glasgow, Scotland, as the Van Wagenen Fellow of the American Association of Neurological Surgeons. Upon his return to San Francisco, Dr. Pitts spent 17 years as Chief of Neurosurgery at the San Francisco General Hospital, where he conducted and published numerous studies related to neurotrauma and was appointed chairman of the joint session on neurotrauma of the American Association of Neurological Surgeons and the Congress of Neurological Surgeons. Dr. Pitts was elected into the American Association for Surgery of Trauma and subsequently as chairman of the American Brain Injury Consortium, an organization of 50 neurotrauma centers in the United States, Canada, and Israel. He also served on the medical advisory board of the Acoustic Neuroma Association and participated in lectures of both practical courses in acoustic neuroma and skull-based surgery at national and international meetings. I would like to invite Dr. Pitts to the podium to receive the Presidential Commendation Award. This commendation is published on paper produced from the flower slate at the Genocide Memorial on April 24th.
You heard way more about me than you ever needed to hear, so I apologize for the length, and you've heard a lot of words this morning. I was unaware of this, and I'm deeply appreciative. It is entirely because of the Board of Trustees of AUA, who are here to serve the students, to serve you, to serve the faculty, to serve the institution, and to serve Armenia. And I'm grateful and privileged and honored to have had that role. So thank you very much, Armin.
Well, the time has come. I will now call upon the program chairs and deans to present their candidates for conferral of degrees for the class of 2023. I'd like to introduce Dr. Micah Hilson, the Chair of Bachelor of Arts in English and Communications program, and Dr. Hakop Yakupian, Dean of the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in English and Communications.
Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in English and Communications for the class of 2023 please rise?
President Undergraduate, it gives me great pleasure on behalf of the faculty of the College of Humanities and Social Sciences to present the candidates of the degree of Bachelor of Arts in English and Communication.
By the authority vested in me by the trustees and directors of the American University of Armenia, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts in English and Communications with all the rights and privileges thereto pertain.
Will the recipients of the degree of Bachelor of Arts in English and Communications please come forward?
Samantha Isabella Dalia. Mane Adamian. Nona Khababian. Gayane Amirjanian. Dayan Amir Khanyan. Vanan Barson. Anna Andreasyan. Marianna Satrian. Armenuhi Avakyan. Sona Vitisyan. Ani Avoyan. Ani Babayan. Vartan Babayan. Elen Badalyan. Satenik Barsekyan. Bali Beduryan. Nena Beglaryan. Elen Çavuşyan. Roza Çibukhçan. İbtisam Desuki. Inessa Gasparyan. Haykuhi Gevorkan. Sona Gevorkan. Arpine Gambaryan. Elen Humasyan. Տաթևիկ Ղումաշյան, Անուշ Գրիգորյան, Էլեն Իրինա Համբարձումյան, Դավիթ Հովակիմ Հովակիմյան, Էլինա Իսաղուլյան, Նանե Կաբակյան, Լիլիթ Խաչատրյան, Սուսաննա Կիրակոսյան, Նիրվա Կույումջու, Անուշ Լալայան, Էդիտա Մակարյան, Մարի Մանասերյան, Կրիստինե Մանուկյան, Սիլվանա Մանուկյան, Ելենա Մանուկյան, Նատալի Մարտիրոսյան, Սոնա Մարտիրոսյան, Հասմիկ Մարուխյան, Ինեսա Մելիքյան, Արմինե Մելքոնյան, Դուստրիկ Մկրտչյան, Էլեն Մնացականյան, Յասաման Մուսավի, Էլեն Մուրադյան, Անի Նազարյան, Լուսինե Ներսիսյան, Կարեն Պետրոսյան, Մարիաննա Սաֆարյան, Աննա Սարգսյան, Արաքսիա Սարգսյան, Մերի Սարգսյան, Գրիգոր Շահբազյան, Սոֆիա Շահբազյան, Կրիստինա Շատվորյան, Մեղրի Սիրաբյոնյան, Մանե Սոլոմոնյան, Ալեքսանդր Տակվորյան, Լիլիթ Թամազյան, Ջուլիա Թանգամյան, Մերի Տիրացյան, Անահիտ Թոփալյան, Թամարա Հովսեփյան, Արմեն Թորոսյան,
Now, I would like to introduce Dr. Gaine Parseghian, Program Chair of the Bachelor of Arts in Business, and Dr. Vache Kaprilian, the Dean of the Manoukian Simon College of Business and Economics, to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Art in Business.
Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Business of the class of 2023 please rise?
Wow.
President Erkiregan, on behalf of the faculty of Manoukian Simon College of Business of Economics, it gives me great pleasure to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Business.
By the authority vested in me by the trustees and directors of the American University of Armenia, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Business with all the rights and privileges thereto pertaining.
Will the recipients of the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Business please come forward?
Elena Abrahamian, Isabella African, Bella Ghabalyan, Marcelina Ghajanyan, Yana Ghajanyan, Sona Ghaloyan, Lili Tananyan, Lana Angergoli, Armine Arakelian, Henry Karshakyan, Mona Rustamyan, Ashkhen Asatrian, Anahit Galstyan, Hran Tashughyan, Jivan Aslanyan, Gayane Avakyan, Sara Avanisyan, Nare Azatyan, Inna Azizyan, Lilit Babloyan, Anahid Baghdasaryan, Ilona Babayan, Karen Bezirganyan, Tatevik Danghyan, Karine Darpinyan, Samvel Darpinyan, Edgar Evanesyan, Aram Galstyan, Inna Gasparyan, Sona Gevorkan, Vandoz Garagözyan, Ani Ghazaryan, Haykaz Ghazaryan, Marietta Ghazaryan, Janetta Ghazaryan, Sirarpi Grigoryan, Anahit Hakopian, Գեգամ Հակոբյան, Մարի Հակոբյան, Գագիկ Համբարձումյան, Էրիկ Համբարձումյան, Սուսաննա Հարությունյան, Ստեփան Հարությունյան, Ռուզաննա Հարությունյան, Մանվել Հարությունյան, Լալա Հարությունյան, Կարինա Հարությունյան, Դավիթ Հարությունյան, Անահիտ Հարությունյան, Տիգրան Հայրապետյան, Գոհար Հայրապետյան, Արամ Հոխոյան, Հայկուհի Հովակիմյան, Անահիտ Հովելյան, Մարիամ Իգնատոսյան, Ինեսսա Իսկանդարյան, Հրակ Ջինբաշյան, Էդիտա Կամալյան, Դիանա Կանկանյան, Սոնա Կարապետյան, Մանե Կարապետյան, Էլինա Կարապետյան, Աննա Քաթաբյան, Մերի Քեխյան, Աննա Քեշիշյան, Անի Խաչատրյան, Աքսախան, Անահիտ Խեկոյան, Իննա Քոչարյան, Էլեն Քոչարյան, Անի Մանուկյան, Անահիտ Մանուկյան, Մանվել Մանվելյան, Անի Մանվելյան, Սյուզաննա Մարկոսյան, Արմեն Մարտիրոսյան, Սուրեն Մայիլյան, Անահիտ Մելքոնյան, Զեմֆիրա Մելոյան, Էմմա Միրզոյան, Սիմոնա Մխիթարյան, Դիանա Մկրչյան, Անի Մկրչյան, Գայանեմ Նացականյան, Էվելինա Նացականյան, Սիլվա Մոմջյան, Ռուբեն Մովսեսյան, Լիլա Մովսեսյան, Արտյոմ Մուրադյան, Էվելինա Մուսայելյան, Թագուհի Օգանեսյան, Նելի Օգանեսյան, Սիլվա Օհանյան, Անի Օնանյան, Արման Պալազյան, Հայկանուշ Պապոյան, Դավիթ Պապյան, Արփի Պետրոսյան, Էվելինա Պետրոսյան, Էդուարդ Պետրոսյան, Անժելա Պետրոսյան, Գայանե Պողոսյան, Արտաշես Պողոսյան, Անի Պողոսյան, Սոֆի Ռաֆայելյան, Էդուարդ Սաֆարյան, Կատրին Սահակյան, Էլեն Սանոյան, Լիդիա Սարգսյան, Գոր Սարգսյան, Էլեն Սարգսյան, Աննա Սարգսյան, Եվա Սեյլանյան, Արևիկ Շախվերդյան, Արփի Շարոյան, Հազրե Շանազարի, Նարեկ Շիրվանյան, Թագուհի Սիմոնյան, Անահիտ Սիմոնյան, Մարիա Ստեփանյան, Սարին Սուլահյան, Երվան Թադևոսյան, Անի Թամազյան, Արտյոմ Թանանյան, Լիլիթ Տատինցյան, Խաչիկ Թորոսյան, Մարիամ Ծատրյան, Նունե Վարդանյան, Վսեմ Ոսկերչյան, Գայանե Եսայան, Արամ Զատիկյան,
I would like to introduce Dr. Haik Nersessian, the chair of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science program, and Dr. Aram Hajian, dean of the Zaven and Sonia Akyan College of Science and Engineering, to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science.
Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science For class of 2023, please rise.
President Dergregan, on behalf of the faculty of the Zavan and Sonia Akyan College of Science and Engineering, it gives me great pleasure to present to you the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science of Computer Science.
By the authority vested in me by the trustees and directors of the American University of Armenia, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science with all the rights and privileges thereto pertaining.
Will the recipients of the degree of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science please come forward?
Mehdi Abgaryan, Gohar Aghajanyan, Joseph Alakach, Elen Alexanyan, Alexander Alexanyan, Armen Armenakyan, Yana Azaryan, Alvaro Babakhanyan, Elen Babayan, Arman Babayan, Lilith Beglaryan, Elen Danielyan, Anna Danielyan, Monica Dertelyan, Nune Gevorkyan, Anush Khazaryan, Lilith Goyunyan, Arman Harutyunyan, Arak Sovanisyan, Razmik Israelyan, Arman Jivanyan, Andrei Karapetyan, Arshak Kosakyan, Aram Leblebjan, David Matevosyan, Anna Martirosyan, Emma Minasyan, Elen Muradyan, Grigor Nalbandian, Harutsun Nalbandian, Diana Nersesyan, Narek Okroyan, Armen Paronikyan, Karen Petrosyan, Karine Pogosyan, Liana Puluzyan, Maria Salmasyan, Linda Sargsyan, Diana Sargsyan, Hayk Shahbazyan, Anna Stepanyan, David Stepanyan, Ashot Tarumyan, Emin Termekirchan, Sambat Voskanyan,
Now I would like to introduce Dr. Habet Madoyan, the chair of the Bachelor of Science in Data Science program. To join Dean Hajian and me of the College of Zaven and Sonia Ken College of Science and Engineering to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Data Science.
Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Data Science for the class of 2023 please rise?
President Derguregan, it gives me great pleasure on behalf of the faculty of the Zaven and Sonia Akyan College of Science and Engineering to present to you the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Data Science.
By the authority vested in me by the trustees and directors of the American University of Armenia, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Science in Data Science with all the rights and privileges thereto pertaining.
Will the recipients of the degree of Bachelor of Science in Data Science please come forward?
Nari Abgaryan, Andri Abrahamian, Alen Adamian, Irene Aghajanyan, David Tarakelian, Lucine Babayan, Narik Badalyan, Laura Barsegyan, Ani Gharibian, Karapet Ghazanchian, Ani Guloyan, Emma Hovanisyan, Gogo Hovanisyan, Narine Isakhanyan, Elina Israelian, Lilit Khachatrian, Christine Manukyan, Hovanes Manusyan, Isabella Martirosyan, Ani Marutian, Nune Meliksetian, Sona Mirijanyan, Alexander Măcărcean, Avedis Shegoyan, David Nazluhanyan, Diana Sargsyan, Sona Stepanyan, Eva Cengrian, Ripsime Voscanyan,
Now I would like to introduce Ms. Satanik Manasakanian, the Chair of Bachelor of Science and Engineering Science Program, to join Dr. Aram Hajian, Dean of the Zaven and Sonia Akyan College of Science and Engineering, to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Engineering Science.
Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science for Engineering Sciences for the class of 2023 please rise?
President Dergiregan, it gives me great pleasure on behalf of the faculty of the Zaven and Sonia Akyan College of Science and Engineering to present to you the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Engineering Sciences.
By the authority vested in me by the trustees and directors of the American University of Armenia, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Science in Engineering Sciences with all the rights and privileges thereto pertaining.
Will the recipients of the degree of Bachelor of Science in Engineering Sciences please come forward?
Varujan Anbarson, Ashot Arushanyan, Ani Asatrian, Marta Balayan, Alexander Hakobian, Victoria Harutyunyan, Arek Karapetyan, Sergei Kirakosyan, Christ Samuel Siraki, Lilith Sayan, Nare Vartanyan, Lilith Yirknapesyan,
Satanik, I think you have one more student to remember.
Շնորհակալ եմ դոկտոր Տերգիրևյան։ Այսօր շրջանավարտների շարքում բեմում կլիներ նաև Էրիկ Հաջիկյանը, ով 2020 թվականի մարտական գործողությունների ժամանակ խոցվեց եւ ընկավ մարտական ընկերոջը փրկելիս.
Saving his other fellow soldier. In 2020, Eric Hajikyan was on military service in the tank division of the Armenian military. As his fellow soldiers and commanders testifies, testify, he had exclusive military skills and soldier's discipline. And I think his student friends and faculty will agree that we have seen these features also in the classroom. Eternal glory to Eric and all our fallen soldiers. Unbreakable will to us living for fighting for the well-being and victories of our country. Thank you.
This
Սա
concludes our
եզրափակում է մեր հանդիսությունը
I would like to ask
եւ
the
ես ցանկանում եմ
audience to
խնդրել
remain in their seats
հյուրերին մնալ
till
իրենց
all the
տեղերում
officials,
մինչեւ բոլոր
students,
պաշտոնյաներ, ուսանողներն ու դասախոսները
have left the hall.
լքեն
I would like
դահլիճը։
to add
Ցանկանում եմ ավելացնեմ իմ
2023 graduates
գովասանքի խոսքերը 2023 թվականի շրջանավարտներին եւ իրենց ընտանիքներին։
University and the country
Համալսարանը եւ
have high
երկիրը
expectations of
բարձր
you.
սպասելիքներ, ակնկալիքներ ունեն ձեզնից եւ վստահ ենք, որ դուք մեզ հպարտ կդարձնեք ձեր ձեռքբերումներից։ Շնորհավորում եմ։